But again, I do think you will have an understanding, and this is why the website is so important, and why it has to get fixed sooner rather than later, and that is, so many people in this individual market will find a better policy at a better price. They can't see that right now because the website's broken.
So Mike, for every news story that tries, or every person who tries to spin and tries to make this less than it really is, 5%, well actually it's millions and millions of people. There's a column this morning by Edie Littlefield-Sunby in the Wall Street Journal.
We have that in must read.
I fought and survived stage 4 gallbladder cancer with a 5-year survival rate of less than 2%. I'm a determined fighter and I'm extremely lucky, but this luck may have just run out. My affordable, life-saving medical insurance policy has just been canceled effective December 31st. And she can't keep her doctor. She can't keep her plan. And she can't keep the team together that's kept her alive.
Joe, no matter which number you're going under, whether it's 3.5 million people who have been thrown off their insurance or told they're going to have to find a new doctor, whether it's 5 million, whatever the number is, this is an unmitigated disaster right now for the administration and for the people of this country. That's the larger issue. Robert, my question to you is off the Washington Post piece yesterday. One thing stuck out to me, and that's Larry Summers' name. Larry Summers was an outsider in the very inner circle of that administration. Obviously, most of you had been together since 2007, some of you earlier in running for the Senate and then running for the presidency. So an outsider, Larry Summers, says, hey, we got to take a look at this because it could get screwed up. So the question is, how insular was that White House, or is that White House now? Who, other than you, and I know you would go into the Oval and give the president bad news, who in that White House would go in and say, Mr. President, this is a mess. We've got to put the brakes on and fix it?
Very good question.
Well, look, I think David Axelrod could do that. I think Rahm Emanuel could do that. But Mike asked me about the question as to who would have done it then. And I think, look, I think Larry understood, because he's an enormously bright man, how complex this situation, how complex the rollout was going to be and how complex the procedure it was to set it up. I think, again, reading that story and finding out that, I think, you get into that story, and late last year they realized the exchange wasn't where it needed to be. They were way behind. Contractors weren't doing what they needed to do. There was going to be very little end-to-end testing on the website. That obviously appears to be true.
So,
and even
so
the
why not
testing
delay
that
the
was
launch,
done,
Robert? Why not delay the launch?
Yeah, again, I don't think, Joe, anybody. It's a good question. I don't know the answer because, again, we're learning all of this stuff sort of after the launch happened. So I don't know the answer.
All right,
to that.
Willie, and just to underline one more time that piece that you read, Joe, in the Wall Street Journal. Yes, there are 15% of Americans who are uninsured. This law could be a very good thing for them. 80% employer insurance, they'll be okay. But when I hear this sort of dismissal of the 5% of the people,
that doesn't work.
It's 14 million Americans. So if any percentage of that group is having its insurance canceled and then having to go out and find insurance, which in many cases has higher premiums or higher deductibles, that's a terrible thing. And that's a lot of people. So let's not say it's 5%, it's a tiny sliver. Those are Americans.
It also contradicts what we were told.
Right.
Which is probably more important for that.
Big mistake.
But even as some people admit that it was a contradiction or perhaps a lie, they're saying, yeah, but it's a small sliver of the country. That's a lot of Americans.
That has been the
backup
backup position is that, yes, it was a lie, but it was a small lie.
No.
Not for the people out there that are going to die because of this. And there are, unfortunately, you read this heartbreaking column of this woman who fought stage 4 cancer and is now going to have to be kicked off of her plan and not have the team.
And who in communications doesn't know that won't explode as a story?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
And we ought to look at the 15%. This is going to be helpful for them. That's true. But 5% of Americans could potentially be really hurt.
Who were told, who were promised by their president 26, 27 times that they were going to be able to keep their insurance.